Hi everyone. Today I have a list of things that were my favorite things when I was decorating cakes and making wedding cakes professionally. These are 5 things that I used all the time, and they're not maybe what you would expect, but these are things that I would not have given up if somebody came and said, "What are you going to give up out of your kitchen?" Because these are very helpful. All right, so the first thing I don't have in front of me because I sold it after I stopped making wedding cakes, but it's the Agbe cake leveler. That specific brand Okay, don't go to get a Wilton cake leveler. They're useless. It's a little wire. It bends when you put it through the cake. And if you're not sure what a cake leveler is, it's a tool. It looks kind of like like a bracket kind of thing. So I don't know how to describe it, but it's got a blade on it that's made with something, and you can use it to push through the cake to cut it exactly even. And that's the theory. But if you get one that has a wire, the wires tend to bend and move while you're pushing it through the cake. So it kind of drags the cake instead of cutting it. And a lot of times you don't get an even cut. And that does make a difference when you're icing a cake. So you want to make sure that everything is even. The Agbe is the best professional cake leveler that I ever used. It is not a joke. It's a very rigid blade that's a serrated blade. It looks like a bread knife. It's sharp and you have to be careful. I've cut myself on an Agbe when I was messing around. I wasn't being careful. So you do need to be careful, but it will cut through anything. It will cut through a heavy fruit cake that has nuts in it. It'll cut through anything evenly because it is such a good knife, and you can get extra blades. It's worth every penny. I am not an affiliate. I'm going to send you, I'll put the links in the description of this video, but I will send you to their website. You can go and buy that there. You don't need to pay anybody else. Okay, but get one. If you do a lot of wedding cakes, and theoretically, if you don't do a lot of wedding cakes, you just do small cakes, you could get away without it. But if you are leveling a lot of cakes, or you're torting cakes and you want those layers to be exactly even when you cut the cake and it looks nice, get an Agbe. I'm not joking. Just don't go with a competitor. Don't go with a knockoff. Get an Agbe. All right. The second thing, this is a little strange. 5-petal, well, maybe it's not strange. If you make your own flowers, 5-petal cutters. Okay. This one is for a rose. This one is for a peony. It doesn't really matter. You can make peonies with this one. This one just has the ruffle on the edge already. These are the most versatile cutters because you can make so many different flowers with them. And it's not just for roses. I've made tulips with these. What else? I mean, there are a lot of flowers that have the, 5-petal arrangement. You can make little cherry blossoms with the small versions, not with this one, obviously. But if you want to do your own gum paste flowers or fondant flowers, having a set of 5-petal cutters that come in different sizes is pretty much the basic cutter that you're going to need. You don't need other petal cutters other than this. So you could just get a set of these and you're good. Okay, I would not have given that up, and I made a lot of gum paste flowers, but you can, like I said, you can make a lot with those. Okay, actually, let me do this one next. This is kind of a weird one. Okay, I need to reach down for this. This is an extra oven rack. Okay, now most people would probably say, oh, you can't do that in a home oven. You can. I want to put it down so it doesn't fall over and make a huge noise. It's going to fall over. Okay, if you get an extra oven rack, you can bake more pans of cakes at one time. And I used to do like between 3 and 5 wedding cakes a weekend. I would do all my baking on Thursdays. I would do all my decorating on Fridays, or, kind of space it out Wednesday through Saturday if I had things on Sunday. But with that extra rack, you can bake more cakes. And yes, they will bake evenly, but you need to understand how your oven heats. And most ovens have a hot spot, which is where it just gets hotter in that one spot. And once you figure that out, you can arrange the layers of, the pans in your oven to avoid that hot spot so that everything bakes kind of evenly. But with an extra oven rack, you can start, I used to move pans around, like start them at the top, move them down as you're taking things in and out of the oven. It just saves you so much time in the baking process. And like I said, if you understand how your oven heats, you'll be able to bake cakes with an extra oven rack. It's not going to affect things. I did it all the time. This saved me so much time. And you can get extra oven racks at the manufacturer's website for whoever made your oven. Sometimes you can get them on Amazon, but usually, like appliance stores. But go to the manufacturer's website and you can usually order spare parts because sometimes things get destroyed and you have to replace a rack. I don't know how you would destroy an oven rack, but I'm sure it happened. Okay. The next thing I have are these pearl molds. Okay, now I used to sit and roll pearls made from fondant. I would roll them to put on cakes, and you want them to be even. You want them to be the same size. So what I would do is I would use, I think this is an 8mm. This is, I'm not sure. This one looks like this is an 8mm and this is a 6, or vice versa. But I would roll these and then put them on I'd get like a big square cake pan and put a piece of foam in it just to hold the pearls. I would like mold about 200 at a time and just pop the strings of them out. And you know how the one thing about these is that when you bend this, after a while it will develop a seam along the back where you're bending the rubber. But if you're rolling them by hand, you can get rid of that. And what these do is it keeps the size of the pearls even. So I'm basically using these to measure the size of the pearls. I'm popping the strings out and putting them on this foam as I'm doing 200, maybe 100, 200 at a time. And then you can roll them as you're just sitting watching TV or whatever you're doing. It's a mindless activity, but it makes the pearls that you put on your cake look a lot better because they're all the same size. They came out of this, that you measured them, right? So they're even. And then you rolled them by hand to get rid of any seams and imperfections. I made so many pearls. It's not even funny, but this is something that I would not have given up because it made the process of making those pearls look even much easier than trying to cut them off and eyeball it. That doesn't work. All right, the last thing, I limited myself to 5. I could go on. The last thing is a turntable. Now this one has other stuff on it, which I will explain in a different video. This is just a basic Lazy Susan. It has the ball bearings in it, right? So it turns on ball bearings. This takes a lot of weight, and this is what I used for a turntable to decorate cakes. And I decorated cakes, probably the largest I ever did was like 20 inches, like a 20-inch diameter. This is, as long as you get a good wooden turntable, you don't have to invest in a heavy cake like a professional cake turntable. No. And a lot of those, I don't like them anyway, because they don't move well. But if you get a wooden turntable that has ball bearings in it and it's a good quality, don't cheap out. This is important because you want it to turn evenly so that while you're icing the cake, you can just hold the scraper up here and turn the turntable, and it works great. So those are the 5 tools, but don't cheap out on any of these things. Okay. Get the pedal cutter. I'll put the list of everything in the description. There's also an article that I wrote with a whole list of things, so you can go and see them there. But that's really, I mean, for me, if anybody came and said, I'm taking away one of these things, which one would it be? I would have a really hard time trying to figure out which one I wanted to give up because I use them all the time. They save me time. It makes things a lot faster and easier. And when it comes right down to it, I'm not including things like spatulas and measuring cups and things like that, but these are just kind of basic things that I think every cake decorator could use and use well to save you time and make your job easier. So leave me any questions, give this video a thumbs up. All the links to these things are in the description, and I will talk to you later.